I just haven't gotten to apply myself to the job the way I wanted to because of external circumstances up until now. Anyway, I wanted to get back on and film this while in the mood, while the emotion is upon me, because sometimes I'm just really random like that, and sometimes my own emotional work gets really raw and it comes to me, and I like to get it out in the moment when it's happening to me, not necessarily scripted or planned. I was just picking up a delivery, and in a big hurry. They were late with my order. It took forever, and I was in a hurry. I was running out of the restaurant with my bag and everything, about trying to load my car, and this young boy is sitting outside of the restaurant with his head in his lap. Literally. Boy, this interstate, y'all, oh my God. We have the worst roads in this state. Like, I literally just hit a crater in the fucking interstate. Deep. Ugh. Don't even get me started on the roads in Arkansas. Anyway, this little boy was sitting outside. He looked to be about, I don't know, anywhere between 11 and 12, 13 years old. And his head was in his lap, and as I rushed by him, I heard him say, "Ma'am, will you get me something to eat?" And I just kept breezing by. You know, I was moving fast, loading my car, ready to get to my customer, and I happened to look back at him, and I guess right after he said that, he just put his head right back down in his lap and shook his head. And it dawned on me what he had said. This boy was hungry. "Ma'am, will you please get me something to eat?" And you know, he was just so young. And you know, a lot of times we're approached by homeless people, strangers in the street. I know it's a really big thing in my city. I'm always out and about delivering. I'm approached by all kinds of different people at all different times, you know, and I'm nowhere near wealthy. Half the time I am still living hand to mouth, unfortunately. I'm still rebalancing my life and my financial stability. And there's a lot of days where I only have a few cents in my damn bank account. You know, so I can't possibly give to everyone, and I don't. There's just days I just don't have it. And I am very protective of my energy when it comes to strangers approaching me. I live in a city. Anybody from a city knows what's up. So, but that little boy, and literally today, I haven't gotten paid yet. I only have $18 in my damn bank account. Anyway, that little boy just made me think, holy shit. I remember what that felt like. To be a kid his age. And a baby, really. Looking back at that age, he looked like a baby to me. And I remember, in fact, this very month of May was the first time I ever ran away from home. In 1989, I was 12 years old. And I was out in the streets. It was hot. I was hitchhiking. I was hungry. You know, and a lot of times it's hard for kids to find resources when they run away like that. Somehow I made connections. I either got with older kids at school who had even older adult friends. Somehow I made my way and made some connections where I could survive. But there were times where I was literally in the street like that boy, sitting around in front of gas stations, truck stops, restaurants, just either lingering around waiting for a connection on a place to go, hide, or trying to bum money and get something to eat. Just literally out in the heat and the elements like that at that age, y'all, for real. And man, I just couldn't help myself. Like, I just looked at that boy and I triggered back and remembered what it felt like, you know. And he was just so sad, and the first thing I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go over there and ask him what's up, you know. And we weren't in front of no McDonald's. We were in front of like Hooters, I believe, is where I was picking up my order from. And they're expensive. You know, today is not the day for me, budget-wise, for anything other than a McDonald's burger or something for the boy, you know. But I was like, oh shit, you know, what can I do? I'm broke. We're in front of a place that's probably $15 for a burger. Oh my God. You know, and I went back over to him. I left my customer's order in the car, and I was like, okay, run over there real quick and see what's up. See what you can do for him. You gotta go, hurry. You know, and I said, hey baby, I said, what's going on? And he told me he was hungry. And I said, well, where's your parents? Are you okay? And he said that he was staying at the hotel and back. And I don't know who's over there with him, but he was hungry. And I guess they didn't have any food, you know? And shit, I've been there and done that one hundreds of times. I know what that feels like. But I can also say I have also been blessed. And somehow I have always found a way to provide food for myself and my children when they were growing up, or even out in the streets running. Somehow I would get to someone somewhere that could provide me with something. And thank God for those angels in this world who will stop and take time to see if you're okay, to see if you need something to eat, you know. And I know it's not everybody's job to support yada yada yada, but when it's a child, okay, when it is a child, I feel like it is our responsibility to stop and check on that child and see what we can do for them. And so, yeah, even though I was in a damn hurry, on the job, this car's getting on my nerves, speeding and banging around. I'm in the market for another car. But yeah, it just really threw me back to an earlier time in my life to where I remember that exact feeling. And so I went back into Hooters. I said, all right, let me go see what I can do. I went back into Hooters. I talked to the chick at the bar, and I was like, hey, how much is your cheapest burger? I'm talking cheap, you know. There's a little boy outside. He says he's okay. He's got a place to go, but he's hungry. And I said, he looks really sad, really hot, and he looks hungry. He looks, you know, I said, I've only got a few bucks, man. I was like, what's your smallest burger? That's all I can do for him. Hopefully he'll, you know, after that, he can find a way to do something. I just don't have time. I gotta go. You know, I'm at work, really. And she said, well, let me look. And she looked through the menu and the computer, and she was talking about $12.50 and all. And I'm like, whoa, 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 I can't do that. And she's like, oh, well, that comes with fries. Anyway, she ended up looking at some little slider burgers. I'm like, look, just anything you can get for the little boy. I don't have but a few dollars, but, you know. And finally, she just said, you know what? Tell him to come inside. You don't worry about it, okay? You just keep your debit card. You go on back to your delivery, and I'll take care of it. I said, okay, you sure? She's like, yeah, all right, cool. And so, you know, and I was the same way, man. When I was working in restaurants and I had cash on me as a server, or I could get access to food, if there was an emergency or someone hungry, you know, I wouldn't hesitate to do something like that when I can. Now, I know we have days where we just don't have it, and we cannot give to every hungry person, every homeless person, every person's problems. We can't, even though we feel for them. We have to say no sometimes. We just don't have it. Or shit, we're gonna go down, you know? And I live that life sometimes. But when it comes to a child, that's a whole different matter, okay? And so she said she would hook him up, take care of it. That was it. I was on my way. I bounced back outside. I said, hey, babe, you go in there and you ask for this certain lady, and she is going to take care of you. And his little face lit up, and he said, okay, cool, thank you. He went on in, you know? And it just took me back to my own childhood. And, you know, I did have a family at home. There was food at home. I was lucky. We weren't rich. We weren't wealthy. Hell, we weren't even comfortable sometimes. But we lived in a nice, affluent neighborhood. My grandmother often helped pay pay bills and do things for us. They bought into that neighborhood when it was cheaper. But anyway, but because of the traumatic things going on in my home, I did start running away at age 12. And I just got to thinking about it after this little incident today. He just reminded me of me out in the streets like that, hot, hungry. And I would go for 2 or 3 days with hardly anything to eat. I went to those lengths not to go home. And I would go up to strangers and panhandle and whatever. I would go up and just walk up to them and say, hey, I haven't eaten in 2 days. Can I have 50 cents? Can I have $1? I would, and sometimes I would get by like that on little snacks and, until I could get to my next location, a person that was going to take me in. Usually people I knew, connections I made, usually not just stone cold strangers, but there were times where I did get involved with stone cold strangers. But I remember what that felt like. Out in the heat, hungry, scared to death, not wanting to go home, scared you're going to get caught by the cops, having to hide out, all the things that I went through. And all of it came back to me now at this age. And then looking at my own children, how they never attempted to run away from home. Hell, I couldn't beat them away from home. But, no, they had it a lot better because I was determined to break a lot of cycles that happened in my childhood. But it really got me to thinking today, typically kids don't run away from home unless there is something really bad going on. You may have an exception to the rule every once in a while, just a wild child that, whatever reason. But 9 times out of 10, if a kid is running away from their home at a very young, vulnerable age, and doesn't want to be at home and is acting a certain way, there is something terrible going on there. There is some type of abuse. There is something going on, and it's generally more than just, I don't want to follow the rules, I don't like my parents. When they start hitting the streets at a young age, man, there's something going on. And back when I was running at 12, 13, 14, 15, those early years, I wasn't really connecting with what the officials were trying to tell me, the therapists, the psychologists, the people in the behavioral institutions, the people in the court systems, the people that were trying to help me. They knew these things. They knew the patterns. And because of, all kinds of different reports and allegations and things that had gone on in the past, they knew. They could tell by my body language. They told me that at a very young age, that by 7 or 8 years old, they could just look at my body language and know that something was happening to me. And, I denied it for many, many years after I started running away. There were several years in my teens that I just kept going and running. I was numb. I was blocking things out. I didn't really want the help. I just wanted to run from everyone. And it all kind of came back to me today after that incident with that little boy, seeing him out there like that. That no, typically kids do not run away. They do not sit out in the heat and linger around and loiter around unless there's just something really bad going on at home. And you have kids that do all sorts of crap, like I said, but it just reminded me of that. It's dawned on me that they were right back then when they were trying to tell me in all those years. And I was so numb. A lot of these flashbacks have been coming back lately, and I've been having to go through them and deal with them and heal, do the work. I was so numb. I was so numb and so far gone. I didn't think any of that stuff was hurting me. I didn't think the reason I was running away was because of the abuse back then. I just thought I was wild and wanting to hit the streets. That was my logic. That was my young child mentality. I just thought it was because I wanted to go be with my friends. But they were right. All of them were right. Any child that's running away like I was and putting myself in so much danger and out in the elements and going to the extremes that I went to, there's something bad happening at their house. Yeah, because most kids that are being raised in a loving, caring, decent environment, you know, they're not going to run away. They're just not. Now, you have your exceptions, like I said, but no, most of the time not. Most of the time they want to be at home. Yeah, their parents are going to get on their nerves and they're going to have some rules, but most of the time if they are in a decent, loving, respectful environment, they're not being abused or something really bad's going on, they're not going to run away. They're not. They want to be at home. They want to be where they feel safe and comfortable and accepted and secure. And I felt none of those things, so clearly that's why I started running. But it's just so weird to me thinking back about it all those years ago in my 12 and 13-year-old mind. I really didn't think that I was running from the abuse. I mean, I knew I was, but because it was horrible and I got sick of it and all those things, but I don't know, it's just, I had this mindset that I'm done, I don't even feel that shit. That even happened. I don't care about that. I just want to get the hell out of here. I just want to go be with my friends. I just want to go be in a better place. I just want to go hang out. I just want to go party. I want to go do grown folks shit. I'm just wild. I'm not going to follow these people's rules. These people, this is not for me. I'm out of here. You know, I just kind of had that spirit about it and a very young mentality. So, but yeah, they were right all along. They were right. Because really terrible things were happening, and that's what children do. Okay, you guys, I just wanted to pop that off. I'll be back with more later.